I just want y'all to see what a booktuber's life entails and just how many stacks of books you can just have at any given moment around you. Like right here. This is my TBR. This is my wrap up. And that's the stack of books I use for my tripod. First, I grab some board games. Then I lift this book on top. And voila, now we're at eye level with each other. What is up, you guys? It's me, your girl, your Casey. How you doing? So if you're seeing this, you have probably watched my wrap up. I have not seen that wrap up yet because I haven't filmed it yet. I'm gonna film it after this video. But last month was a lot of meh. A lot of confusion too. Everything was a 3 stars or under. There was one series, that Shadow, Bright, and Burning series, and I'm like, what are you? Why are you good and bad at the same time? Why have you chosen to be this? But I am excited for this month. Why? Because I went to the library and found some smashing Goodreads. But also, I'm finally gonna get to the book that you guys voted for about 2 months ago. And also, I'm actually this close to finishing a series that I'm actually liking right now. Stay tuned for more. So a couple months ago, you guys voted for me to give The Secret History by Donna Tartt another try. Because I've mentioned before, I tried to read this while I was really high on pain medications because of a toothache, and I just couldn't focus. And I had to put it down. I've only read Donna Tartt's other book, The Goldfinch, and I love that book. So I'm really excited to see what this one's about. This one came before The Goldfinch, so I want to see, like, you know, the differences between the writing styles, because The Goldfinch was so descriptive and beautiful. And usually I don't like a lot of description, but I just like yum ate it all up in The Goldfinch. When I first tried reading this book, like, I was intrigued, I was enjoying it, I was very high, but also I was high, yeah. But I was vibing with it, except this back cover. Like, look at this. This doesn't match, people. Who designed this? I can barely color coordinate my own outfits, and I can do better than this, yo. But this is a story about a young man. I don't know his name. The summary doesn't tell me. I will call him Jonathan. Jonathan, you know, he's smarter than the average bear. He has ambitions for himself that his family tries to, like, hamper down, but he gets the chance to go to this prestigious college. And when he gets to this college, he discovers this, I think it's a Greek class or something like that. This very special class that only has like 6 or 7 people in it, taught by this one enigmatic professor. This professor and this new group of friends that our character Jonathan stumbles into. Like, because they're so little, they're a really close, intimate group, but the professor begins teaching some things that aren't in the curriculum, some things that really makes the people question morality and what's right and wrong and what they could get away with. And so one little tiny step at a time, our group of students starts to descend into evil. And when they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality and they slip gradually from obsession to corruption to betrayal and inexorably into evil. You know, I'm all into that morality, people going from a white shining hero to a gray broody anti-villain to just pure evil. Did I say anti-villain? I don't think that's a thing. Maybe that's just a hero. I meant anti-hero. The one complaint I remember having about this book is that it kinda read like a John Green book. If you read John Green, then you know most of his stories are about a smarter than average character, usually a boy who somehow gets swept up into the escapades of usually a quirky girl, or in this case, a quirky group of classmates. But I'm ready to see where all these evil college students take me to. Next up, we have a book I'm currently reading right now, and it's very bad, but not bad enough for me to quit. It's like, I've had such a meh past 3 reading months that I've kind of just accepted it as my current state of living, and I can't escape it no matter how I try to. So I'm just going with it. I can read it kind of brainlessly, and it passes the time, when at the time I should be using to study, but it is Even If We Break by an author I can't read. It's just an E. Nijkamp. Do I know how to pronounce normal words? No. If you go on Goodreads right now, you would see that this book has a 2.97. This is the lowest rated book I've ever read. 5 friends go to a cabin. 4 of them are hiding secrets. 3 years of history binds them. 2 are doomed from the start. 1 person wants to end this. No one is safe. Set over the course of 1 deadly weekend and told from 5 pulse-pounding perspectives, Even If We Break is a shocking thriller about a group of friends tied together by a game and the relationships that define them. The healthy ones, the toxic ones, and the ones that will break them. So usually, if I see something like this, like 5 people, 4 of them are hiding secrets, 3 years of history, that little number scheme, that really intrigues me because it reminds me of Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. You know, it goes from 10 to 9 to 8 survivors to 7 to 6. I just like that formula. It's very like, ooh, who's up next to be slaughtered? I like that. And yeah, like the summary said, this is 5 friends who are currently going through they just got off of a friendship hiatus because of a big conflict that happened with 2 members of the group. These 2 members, one of them is like trying to make amends, but the other one is like, I hate your guts. So one of our characters, Ever, who is currently my favorite because they're very just level-headed amidst all the teenage craziness, they go up to a cabin that one of them, their parents, owns the cabin. That would be Liva. I think that's her name. Liva's the rich kid, and that's her only personality trait. Seriously, the main problem with this book is that all these people, all 5 characters, are defined by one personality trait. Let's see, you got Liva, spoiled rich kid. Then you have Carter, who's like the jock who doesn't mean to be mean, but everything he says comes across as mean. Then you have Maddie, who, very sad and disappointed to say, her only personality trait is that she's autistic. Not good rep, not done well. Then we got Ever, who's just like a really overprotective kinda mama bear figure for the group. Then lastly we have Finn, who's just this like glowing ball of anger and angst. I told you everything you need to know. These 5 friends. Ever's like, hey, let's try to like, you know, become friends again. Let's play Dungeons and Dragons, basically. They're playing a Dungeons and Dragons game at this log cabin. And this Dungeons and Dragons game has lasted 100 pages and I'm so bored. But finally something is happening. Someone got their finger cut off. I'm kinda intrigued. I'm also like, all of you are boring. Like, everybody, all 5 characters gets a perspective in this book, but they're all told through first-person point of view. And none of these people, like I've said, have personalities. So if you're like me and you like put your bookmark in mid-chapter, walk away for a bit, come back, open it up, and start reading, you will not remember whose point of view you are in. It's honestly not a good book, but I'm already halfway through. It's like 300 pages. I'm gonna keep trucking. I just hit my finger. Stupid table. Next up, we have a book that I have already read. It's April 7th when I'm filming this. And it's something I didn't know I would like. You guys remember when I read Caraval? Caraval, Carnival, that fancy little cat called a Cara something. I don't know how to pronounce this word. Well, I read Caraval, and it was meh. I mean, Caraval's about this magical circus called Caraval that never goes to the same place twice, only happens once a year. And our girl Scarlett, she's been writing a letter to the master of Caraval legend for years, begging for Caraval to come to their kingdom. Never happened until finally, on the eve of her wedding, or somewhere around that time, because our girl, Scarlett, has an arranged marriage going on with someone she's never met. The master of ceremonies legend finally writes back and is like, oh, well, I can't come to you, but you can come to me. Here's some free tickets for you and for your sister. And Scarlett, she's Miss Stable and like, you know, just trying to get a better life for herself and for her sister. So she's like, I can't go to the carnival now, man. I have to get married so I can get out of my abusive household with my father. I mean, thanks, but too late. I'm out of here. But her sister, Donatella, who I infinitely like more than Scarlett, she's like, heck no, you ain't getting married to some crusty old man over the sea. So she and this boy she's kind of been like kissing / dating, but not really. His name is Julian. They kidnap Scarlett. They take her on a boat. In the boat, takes them to Caraval. And then after they get off the boat, Donatella gets kidnapped and hijinks ensue. I mean, it started off nice and it was a nice book. It was just nice. But Scarlett, she was just so annoying. Like, I get why she had like a stick up her butt the whole time. She was very concerned about her future, but she was very boring. And through her point of view, for some reason this girl's obsessed with colors. Like every emotion or like just any piece of furniture has like an exaggerated color. Like candy pink kisses, like oh the pillows are sweetheart pink, or the sand glistens like diamond dust on the wind, stuff like that. I don't know. Like, you know, by itself, diamond dust on the wind can sound cool. But when you use it in like every other paragraph, yeah, I wasn't a fan of the writing. And main character was fine-ish. My main thing is that every circus book I read, I want it to be about the circus. And you know, like just circus things. Lion taming, knife throwing, all the exciting bits. But instead of like being a circus, Caraval's more of a scavenger hunt than anything, and that's a quest, and I don't like quest books unless it's an assassin's quest. You know, murder quest, I'm into that. So overall, it was just a 3. Oh, not this book, I meant Caraval. Overall, it was a 3. And I was like, do I want to keep reading the series? And eventually I was like, I already have the next 2 books. Oh, why not? And I'm so glad I did, because I love the sequel, Legendary. This one doesn't have Scarlett in it. Well, she's in it like this much. But the games continues from Donatella's point of view. And I mean, it's a sequel. I really can't tell you a lot about the plot. But one good thing is that because of the annoying way Scarlet and her point of view was just written in the first book, like that overabundance of color descriptions, because we're in another girl's point of view, that's taken out of the book entirely. And it really just lets you show that Stephanie Garber is just really good at writing descriptions when she's not being over dramatic about colors. Like, it's a very prettily written book and I enjoyed it. The love triangle was hot. Okay, I might have swooned like once. Like, full Victorian British maiden style swooning. So yeah, I love that book. I'm not gonna read Finale this month. Actually, yeah, Finale's the next book. I guess because I put it in my TBR, I am going to read it this month. But this is my maybe book because I got a ton of other things to read this month. But I am ready to see what happens because it ended. It ended well in Legendary. That's a good book. That was a 4. So yeah, might read the last book of Caraval this month. And I have 2 more library books. I decided, if you know me and my thriller taste, then you know Ruth Ware, who is a big thriller author, is my least favorite thriller author. I've liked none of her books. I've DNF'd 2, The Lying Game and The Woman in Cabin 10, and I gave Turn of the Key like 2.5 stars. But her newest book, One by One, again, it's that number scheme that reminds me of that Agatha Christie book, and that immediately just like grabs my attention. I decided to give her another chance. It's a library book, it's free, why not? I'll try it. I'll probably hate it, but rant reviews do very good on YouTube. You know, I already read the summary of this book, but I already forgotten what it was about, so I'm gonna read it to you so we can refresh ourselves. Getting snowed in at a luxurious rustic ski chalet high in the French Alps doesn't sound like the worst problem in the world, especially when there's a breathtaking vista, a full-service chef and housekeeper, a cozy fire to keep you warm, and others to keep you company. Unless that company happens to be 8 coworkers, each with something to gain, something to lose, and something to hide. When the co-founder of Snoop, who in their right mind names a tech company Snoop? I'm telling you right now, whoever's in charge of Snoop did it. I promise you that. When the co-founder of Snoop, a trendy London-based tech startup, organizes a week-long trip for the team in the French Alps, it starts out as a corporate retreat like any other. PowerPoint presentations, strategy sessions broken up by mandatory bonding on the slopes. But as soon as one shareholder upends the agenda by pushing a lucrative but contentious buyout offer, tensions simmer and loyalties are tested. The storm brewing inside the chalet is no match for the one brewing outside. However, a devastating avalanche leaves the group cut off from all access to the outside world. Even worse, one snooper hadn't made it back from the slopes when the avalanche hit. As each hour passes without any sign of rescue, panic mounts, the chalet grows colder, and the group dwindles further, one by one. This is my first time looking at a picture of Ruth Ware, and I've always pictured her blonde for some reason. I don't know why. So this sounds like it's gonna have a bunch of business lingo in it. As a business major, I should be excited about this prospect. I'm not. But one of my favorite thrillers of all time, Escape Room, was primarily based in business. So this could be cool. I don't think I've read a book that involves a snowy atmosphere before. So we can only hope and pray that I might actually like this one. Although, why do I feel like no one's actually gonna get murdered in this book? I want murder. I know it says the group dwindles further one by one, but dwindle doesn't mean die. It means get smaller. The group could get smaller, but maybe it just means these people are slowly losing the will to live. They're so tired and exhausted, they're basically fading out of existence. Just have this feeling I'm not gonna get a lot of murder, and it upsets me. And my last physical book for my TBR is The Wife Upstairs. Now, if you watched last wrap up, then you know I finished reading Brightly Burning by Alexa Dunn and thought it was bad. Bad and bad. You would also know that Brightly Burning is a Jane Eyre in space retelling. When I picked up this book, I didn't know it was a thriller twist on Jane Eyre. Apparently I'm cursed to read Jane Eyre retellings for the next 2 months. A vivid reimagining of one of literature's most twisted love triangles. Meet Jane, newly arrived to Birmingham, Alabama. Jane is a broke dog walker in Thornfield Estates, a gated community full of McMansions, shiny SUVs, and bored housewives. The kind of place where no one will notice if Jane lifts the discarded, what the heck is that word? Chilk chicks. We're just gonna call it napkins. I have a feeling it's a napkin. The kind of place where no one will notice if Jane lifts the discarded napkins and jewelry off the side tables of her well-heeled clients. Where no one will think to ask if Jane is even her real name. Is it your real name, Jane? Now I'm thinking about asking it. Meet Eddie. Recently widowed, he has become Thornfield Estate's most mysterious resident. Ever since his wife, Bee, drowned in a boating accident with her best friend, their bodies lost to the deep. Jane can't help to see an opportunity in Eddie. Not only is he rich, brooding, and handsome, but he could also offer her the kind of protection she craves. Yet as the two fall for each other, Jan is haunted by the legend of Bee, an ambitious beauty and successful entrepreneur with a rags-to-riches origin story. How can she, plain Jane, ever measure up? And can Jane win Eddie's heart before her past or his catches up with her? This gives me Rebecca vibes, you know, the new wife having to live up to the old reputation of the old wife. And I love Rebecca, so I could love this. Maybe this is just a sign from the universe that I have to read Jane Eyre. I don't know. So those are my physical TBR books. I have 2 more books that I was asked over email to review. And I have them in PDF or Kindle format. I need to go get my laptop and open up my emails so I can give you a good description of these books. I was also going to read or reread Winds of Strife this month, but my TBR is already packed, so I'm gonna move that to next month. Okay, yep, and now we're sitting. I need to find and pull up the summaries for these books. I get a lot of emails from myself because I email my thumbnails to each other, so there's just a lot of me clogging up my inbox right now. Okay, first off, the first book I was asked to review is Wildcat by J.P. Harker. Currently has a 4.08 on Goodreads. Rhiannon of the Cateran is conflicted about giving up a warrior's life to become a wife and mother, but her love for her new husband is enough to at least make her consider it. However, with the conquering Gaians moving ever closer to her homeland, a peaceful life may no longer be an option. For Rhea or for any of her people, with rival tribes, old suitors, and the dangerous General Lepidus to contend with, Rhea soon finds her new family in unprecedented danger. And her choices now must be about more than just herself. Wildcat takes place in a fantasy land inspired by Iron Age Britain and follows Rhiannon's story as she encounters a civilization unlike any she could have imagined, and is constantly forced to learn and adapt through trial after deadly trial. This is the first of 3 books, and it sounds like I want to see a kick-butt lady kick some butts. Dope. And my last book for this month, it's called Pigeon Blood Red by Ed Duncan. For underworld enforcer Richard Rico Sanders, it seems like an ordinary job. Retrieve his gangster boss's priceless pigeon blood red ruby necklace and teach the double-dealing cheat who stole it a lesson. A job like 100 before it. But the case quickly goes sideways and takes Rico from the mean streets of Chicago to sunny Honolulu, where the hardened hitman finds himself in uncharted territory when a couple of innocent bystanders are accidentally embroiled in the crime. As Rico pursues his new targets, the hunter and his prey develop an unlikely respect for one another. And Rico is faced with a momentous decision: follow his orders to kill the couple whose courage and character have won his admiration, or refuse and endanger the life of the woman he loves. We got assassins, hitmen, some type of jewel, a pigeon blood red ruby thing I've never heard of. We got a potential love interest potentially dying. Color me stoked. I'm ready for this. And so that's all I plan to accomplish this month. This is actually a pretty big TBR. And I have no idea how big these PDF Kindle books, how big they are. But I'm actually regardless of all the bad books I'm currently reading, I'm in a reading high. So I'm actually excited to dive into all of these. And I also gotta see what happens in finale, 3rd book of Caraval, because love triangle. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, stay reading, my friends.